Right, I'm just up here on my rooftop. Check out how stunning it is this morning. How insane is that view? It's the whole vista of London. Well, can't even hear me. The whole vista of London. But I wanted to get outside, but they've locked the doors, so I can't be outside this morning. So we're just up here in my kind of co-working space. And it's been a kind of crazy couple of weeks. Because in Scale 20, we've now had 3 of the crew pass the big 100K per month milestone. So we had Taryn a few weeks ago, and then last week we had Bernard and Lewis, who both passed the mark last month, so August. It is September this month. And they did it in August. Turns out Lewis did it in July as well, which you're going to find out from today. So today we're having a chat with Lewis, who frankly is a really special dude. He is a business coach who helps people get started with transitioning from in-person PTing into online PTing, having the kind of freedom, flexibility that he's managed to build. So he's a specialist coach for kind of like bodybuilding. He does bodybuilding prep. So he's done a master's in science. He's done 2 bachelors. He's got like over 50 credentials. So he's a very experienced dude, very knowledgeable dude, and he's now helping people like him who's early on the journey get into what he's done, because he's French, but he's living in Thailand, living an absolutely insane lifestyle. So let's have a chat to Lewis today. And again, with all of these things, like this should just be about inspiration. So we're all just normal people. None of us are special, although Lewis is a bit of a special guy, as you'll find out. But everyone's special in their own way. Okay, so hope you enjoy this chat. And yeah, just get inspired, get motivated, get after it. Louis, my friend, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dude, what the hell? Tell me, man, like, you've just hit a milestone, which I think is the coolest milestone to hit in entrepreneurship. And it was like last week. How are you feeling? Tell me about it, man.
Actually, it's the second time in a row.
Because this is the second time in a row.
No, because actually
I've done
it. Actually, I told you, but I told you the prediction, and the prediction was right. So I did it in July. I did it in August, but August was more actually.
August was okay. So this is where you Louis. So we're celebrating 200K months in a row.
Yeah, great summer.
Yes,
great summer.
Unbelievable, man. Okay, look, massive congratulations. So we're a month behind. I didn't know that. You just sent me that you hit. I think it was 116K.
Yeah, and actually it ended up being around 130.
130, brother. Okay.
Yeah, 130 because I put some pressure before September 1st, so it worked.
Unbelievable, man. Okay, let's give the viewers a little bit of a taste of who you are and what we're talking about, because on I can see it on my screen. It says the Prep Dad. That's your handle on Instagram. Can you explain to people like who you are, where you're from, where you live, and what do you do?
So my name is Louis. I'm a professional fitness coach and educator from France originally, but right now I live in Thailand for 2 years. And basically I educate coaches around training, nutrition, bodybuilding, and everything around in order to make a living out of online coaching, fitness, nutrition, mostly. And I still prep some bodybuilders.
You still prep some bodybuilders. I seen the prep. Yeah. I'm in a little bit of a prep myself at the moment. I'm kind of like in my last kind of six weeks or so, trying to get absolutely shredded. But dude, so okay, tell me a little bit like about your journey from the last kind of like couple of years. Because so we've been working together for like 6 months or so. It's been like I think 6 or 7 months.
I think I started in March, something like
Yeah,
that.
in March. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
and
it's
March.
been
So
it's
yeah.
been around that. So Louis, tell us a little bit about like how did you get into what you do, because it's super niche, right?
Y- y- uh, yeah, I would say it's super niche in the French market. I would say in English-speaking market, maybe it's not that much. So I started doing online fitness coaching a bit more than 5 years ago now, and I coached some people and high-level bodybuilders. I would say powerlifting athletes and also just general population. And what I decided to do 2 years ago, so in 2023, was to create an online course for coaches to become better coaches, because in the French-speaking market, there is none. There is maybe one or two, and they're not the same style and not the same level of detail and attention than what I was trying to do. And so I created that 2 years ago. And so, yeah, basically, that's the short story. Long story short.
Amazing, amazing, man. Because like this has been really kind of funny, not funny, but like frankly, it's been really incredible for me for the past 2-3 months. Some of my best performing clients have been French speaking, French
Oh,
serving,
yeah,
and
I've seen
Spanish
them.
speaking, Spanish serving. And I found that fascinating because I guess in my head I was like, probably my stuff doesn't translate to other languages, or maybe it would be difficult for other languages to translate my stuff into theirs. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because yeah, like you said, you serve French speaking markets.
I think it can translate well because no one has done it the way you've done it. Because there is I mean, do you consider yourself as a business coach?
Do I?
Yeah, do you?
It's honestly, I consider myself like the way in my head, I consider myself a guide. I'm absolutely happy to call myself a business coach. But I think it's like, I think what we do is way more than just being a coach. I think we encapsulate a ton more.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. How do you think, what do you think?
No, because I'm asking that question just to tell you, because in the French-speaking market, the issue is that most self-proclaimed business coach are just, giving cookie-cutter sayings that you've seen for 10 years in the English-speaking market. So you're a bit in advance. So that's why when I looked at your content, I thought it could translate because it was different. And when I tried, it worked.
Dude, that's
So,
awesome to hear.
yes, that's what matters.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I know that this is the case in the Spanish speaking market as well. We have a few clients who they ask me, they're like, hey, look, there's no one talking about the stuff that you're talking about in Spanish markets. Are you cool if I do it? And I'm like, hell yeah, like absolutely. You just like you just do what you want to do. Can you kind of talk about what are maybe some of the specifics that you think maybe haven't been talked about or being done in the
yeah,
French market?
yeah, easy. I think right now, what I've seen a lot from business coaches in France in 2025 is, oh, you should hire a team, you should hire setters, closers, you should, maybe hire a VA and pay those really, really high ticket business coaches that cost a ton just for them to tell you basic stuff, like to hire people that you probably don't need. And for example, if you're a fitness coach, I've seen a lot of business coach telling those fitness coach to hire more coach to manage their team. And that's something when you work for yourself, the goal is to work for yourself. It's not to put more pressure trying to manage people that you don't want to manage. And so that's what you've done differently, actually, because I think the first thing I've known you for was, no sales call. And I think that's a great approach. I mean, I get the people that need to do sales call, and you probably need to do them at some point in your career. But you shouldn't be dependent on sellers and closers to sell your own product.
Dude, like, so this was the kind of mind blowing thing when you messaged me and you're like, yeah, we did 116K, no sales calls.
Yeah, that's what
Can
I
you
try
tell?
to mention. I don't do. You, you want to tell me about what how it works?
Yeah, I want you to tell people like So why no sales calls for you? Like, why don't you do sales calls? Because, like you said, they're completely valid, and there are some circumstances. I believe when you're first starting a new offer, I think it's
Yeah.
important to get face time with prospects. But tell us about your journey. I actually didn't know you weren't doing sales calls. I didn't know that. I thought you were
Oh,
still
no,
doing it.
no. No, I'm not. So actually, I probably, out of the 120, 130K, I probably did the like 3 sales calls for people that really doubted. And they were like, oh, can we get on a call? And I'm like, oh, it takes like what, 10 minutes of my time. So that's fine. Because they already know what the product is. They probably just have a few questions. So I did no sales calls simply because I don't want to fill my agenda with calls that I don't want to take.
Bro,
Because that's not
how have
that's
you?
because that's not my job.
Absolutely, man. I feel the same way. That's why I don't do them too. Now that you don't do sales calls or you haven't been doing them, what have you done with that time that you've got back? Or like, because for me, it's not only just the time, it's also the mental
Yeah,
space that it gives you back. And I feel like I'm able to do some cool stuff based on it. How about you? How's that been for you?
I wouldn't say doing more cool stuff, but working more on the product and the delivery, and working more on things for my clients that I do care about. And also, it helped me to just create more content that is needed in order to sell something, long form content. I mean, I've been doing long form content for quite some time, but not as much as I've done the past couple of months. And that was also a great thing because, I consider that when you're on the call, it takes some of your energy for the day, because you're invested into the call and you really try to push the product and sell it. And so maybe if you don't sell it, it may impact your energy and mood for the day. Like, oh, maybe the product is not good enough, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that removes that pressure.
Yeah,
That
dude,
pressure of that pressure of jumping on the call and being like, oh, I need to sell. And I've got a lot of friends that still do a lot of sales call, and they're like, oh, I need to close. And when they don't close, they're sad. So maybe I would sell more if I was doing sales call, maybe. But I value my time more than I value the 1 or 2 sales that I would do more than what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, this is a conversation I had with one of my friends who I actually did a podcast with. Who he helps businesses like ours, helps implement sales teams into their businesses, and his argument to me is that I'm leaving money on the table. I could make more sales if I did sales calls, and he can't understand that our position, which is like, well, it's not just about making sales and making more money just because we can. It's about actually loving the business that we have. And importantly, like you said, when we take the time away from that, the cool stuff I was referring to is the stuff that you mentioned. It's helping our clients move faster, win faster. So putting time into the product. That was the first thing that I was able to like put my energy back into. And then the second is actually just being more creative and putting it back into making content, long form content. And I think it's like the biggest kind of like value for me has been around that protection of my energy. And so, like you said, one of the things one of the things that can happen when you run sales calls is that you can convince poor fit clients to work with you.
Yeah.
And what I found when you're doing no sales calls, the leap of faith that it requires for a client to click the confirm button to send a payment over, so it's done, the commitment and the amount of faith that it takes for them to do that without being convinced on a sales call, it results in you having completely all-in clients who end up doing the work and loving it, and they're better clients that I've found.
Yeah, I agree. And what I also see is people that try really to push sales call in order to sell, they sell to the wrong people. They sell to people that are not going to be committed. They sell to people that are not going to pay, that are going to try to pay in multiple installments and that are never going to finish their payment plans. And that's what I saw. People that just with a few messages, a great document, and If they believe in you and your content, if they pay, they're going to be invested into the program, and that's what matters. Because at the end of the day, what you want is referrals, and you want people that tell that your product is the best. You don't want just people that buy it and like, oh, that was not that good, because they didn't do it.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I'm curious to know about your kind of targeting and who are you looking to help? Are you helping just kind of creators in health and fitness?
Mm-hmm.
Do you work with anyone out? Do you get messages from people? What does your like client base currently look like?
So basically, my client base is people that want to do online fitness and nutrition coaching. Most of them are already in-person coaches in gym that want to be fully online. And so they want to learn more about training, nutrition, bodybuilding, all of that, and also marketing on social media and how to sell the coaching. And so that's basically the expertise I have, but it's only for, coaches and people that want to do coaching, because I built the program like I would say university curriculum in some type of way. So you've got really formal lectures in training nutrition, and you've got like informal lectures when it comes to live classes and stuff like that. And so, they need to be invested at some point, because they need to learn the things that will make them better, not only on the marketing side, but also on the knowledge side.
Yeah, dude.
So,
This is a huge part that gets missed in the online education space, is just the fundamental understandings of like, actually, how can we help people implement and learn skills? And this is where you have to give credit to like formal education kind of experiences like universities, like college, and that stuff does work. It's just that now we can get, instead of someone going to a university in like Lille or Paris, they're coming to Lewis, and they're getting like the cutting edge of like online marketing, sales, and information, which just can't be accessed in those traditional education systems. But you like you said, it's about not only just like just kind of telling them the tactics. It's about making sure they understand why the tactics work.
Yeah, I like to say science into practice. You need to know the science, and you need to apply it into professional practice, to not only to sell, but to deliver results to your clients. Because when you're into a fitness coach, you need to get results with your clients if you want to keep them on the long run. And so that's what I try to teach to people. And they could go to university. They could, and I've got more than 60 qualifications in fitness and nutrition, a master's degree. I'm going to start my PhD now, but and I love formal education, but I do it more for the credentials than I do it for the knowledge. so and
that
also
says everything, man.
Yeah, but that's also because it's my job. Because if you want to be an authority in your domain of expertise, having credentials and having proofs is always good. So that's why I try to have proofs with the clients I work with, and I try to have credentials, because I know for a lot of people it still matters. But what I try to tell him is, you don't need the most qualifications. You just need to know the little bit of knowledge needed to get results with your client and apply it on a bigger scale.
It's super interesting that you think like this. That's really interesting, because for me, like I said, I can see on your profile here where we're recording, it's got the Prep Dad MSc. So you've clearly done a ton of like formal education. Tell us a little bit, like, you're going to do a PhD next. How does that fit in with everything?
So basically, so I've done a bachelor in science in exercise physiology. I've done 2 postgraduate diploma, one in women's health and one in performance nutrition, master in science in sports nutrition, and I've got like 50 hours of qualification that are outside qualification, like online stuff, but that are recognized in the English-speaking world. And the goal by doing that was just, when I first got into the industry, the goal was to have the most knowledge. I wanted to be the most knowledgeable person out there. I don't know if it worked, but in the eyes of people, it kind of worked. And to me, it also told me one thing is that most of the courses that you will find don't teach you how to be a good coach. They teach you stuff that you're never going to use. So I know that stuff, but there is probably 1 or 2% of that stuff that I apply in professional practice. And that's what I teach to the people that buy my course, basically. I teach them the 1% that's useful.
Yeah, bro, it's something that I like that I'm trying to kind of instill as well with the people that I work with, you guys in Scale 20, is just the actual fundamentals of what it means to be a good, like a really high quality guide. Well, like I said, I consider myself a guide because it encapsulates being a coach, being a consultant in some instances, being a mentor in some instances. And it kind of, you just need to be able to float between those three to really help clients get the best results possible. What do you think are some kind of practical kind of things that you give to your clients about becoming a great coach?
I would say the first thing, because it works with clients and it works with prospects, it's learn how to communicate. I mean, that's the first thing, fundamental in any business. If you know how to communicate, how to talk to people, and just be genuine with people, then it's going to work better. So, I mean, to me, that's the first thing it works with in any industry, I think. I mean, communicate with people. So that's what I teach people first. And then I teach them basics of training, basics of nutrition, and how to put it into practice for clients. But once again, it all comes down to communication with the client. So it's really that. As simple as that.
Where did you learn? Where did you learn how to communicate, or is it something that's come natural to you?
I think that's natural, and I think also it's hundreds of people I've worked with clients, and along the way you get better at it. So it's a bit of the shortcut. So I've worked with all of these people, and with some of them it didn't work. I learned some stuff. I learned how to improve my communication, and then I give it to my clients, and I try to, the coaches that learn from me, I try to tell them what to do and what not to do from these mistakes. But I think it's also natural. I mean, I think there is some things you're naturally talented, and maybe communication is one thing for me, maybe for others, I don't know, it's physics, I don't know. So yeah, and I just try to tell them what not to do, because it's really easy to screw up your coaching business in the modern world with social media.
Yeah, can you give some examples of how people can screw things up?
Yeah, easy. If a client doesn't follow his diet, if you tell him he's a piece of shit, probably it's not what you should do. But that's what I've seen. I've seen people do that. It's a bit funny because the bodybuilding industry is a bit weird. So, when you check in with your coach, you send body pictures, in underwear just to show your physique. And I know some coaches that ask to women to send them unclothed check-ins, so basically naked. But that's something. So that's why I tell you, it's easy to screw up your career.
Wow.
Yeah, and some people, maybe they don't realize it's bad, but that's really easy. Yeah, but that's the type of thing. Just learn to be kind at some point. You don't need to be a piece of shit and asshole, talk badly to your clients in order to make them stronger, It's just going to destroy them, and they're going to leave you after 3 months.
Yeah, man. I mean, luckily, I don't think I've asked you to send me any new check-in pics yet, right?
Not at the moment, but maybe maybe at level 6. Hey, look, I don't know.
Level. Well, there's a thing. You've told me it's a bad thing, so now I'm not gonna do it. So I was considering it though. So tell us a little bit about your journey with social media. How long have you been posting online?
I mean, it's hard to tell. Consistently, not that long. I would say I was consistent maybe from the middle of last year till now. I was consistent. So I started Instagram 5 years ago when I started coaching. I was posting type of educational content that was shitty, and I was posting just body transformation because 5 years ago, Reels on Instagram didn't exist. I mean, it started to exist in 2020. So 2019, Reels on Instagram were not there. So when you were doing online coaching, you were just posting body transformation, and that worked well. But there was a mentality shift, and people, yeah, they care about juice transformation, but not that much at the end of the day. So then I got into educational content, and that started to work a bit more. I started to do educational reel, started to work. But so basically 2 years ago, I was at 3,000 followers. That time in 2023, I was 3,000 followers on Instagram, and now I'm probably 13,000. So that's the proof that probably just the last year it worked kind of well. And last year I started my podcast in the studio, and that's where I probably got more sales for my course. But this year, and middle end of last year, I started YouTube. So basically, I upload the podcast on YouTube, and I also upload just YouTube videos. And this year, I started to go all in, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do one podcast a week, at least one video, a YouTube video a week. And right now, I'm trying to do 5 to 7 reels a week too, plus 3 to 5 newsletters per week.
Sounds like a lot, man.
Yeah, but it's working.
Do you find it to be a lot? Like, is it hard?
No, actually, I'm going to increase the volume because I think volume matters. So right now, starting next month, what I want to do is 1 reel a day, and I want to do 3 YouTube videos a week, 1 podcast, and 5 newsletters a week. Because I think that it just works.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, I'll compare it to me. So I do 2 YouTube videos a week. I do 5 to 6 to 7 newsletters a week. I try and do 5 reels a day. And here's where I'm currently in a position where I'm not trying to grow my audience that fast because I can't take on. So I can only take on like a handful of clients a month. So for me, I'm not even trying to grow my audience, but when the time comes, which will be at some point next year, it is really simple. You just have to increase the amount of output. It really is as simple. So for me, I'll be aiming to do probably 3 posts. My aim is going to ramp up to do 3 posts per day on Instagram. And I'll probably stick with 2 YouTube videos a week, which I think is a really solid output. Like 2 high quality YouTube videos is a very solid output. And yeah, I like it. It's very doable, especially once you've built up a bank of like your first few hundred posts. Then you've got data on like what's working, what's resonated with your audience, and then you can kind of lean into things with more confidence, knowing that these things are actually what people are looking for. How have you kind of like found that journey getting into long form content and podcasting? Because I know for a lot of people, they feel scared about making that leap and being in front of the camera, feeling like a YouTuber. Do you feel like a YouTuber?
No, but they're just scared of people mocking them, people that they've known in high school mocking them, That's always the same. That's what I see with people that work with me. The people that buy my course, they're like, oh, I'm afraid of doing content. I'm like, you're afraid just of your friends from high school making jokes of you or your family. Or I don't care. So it's easy because I don't care what people think about what I do. I care about what I deliver to the people that care about what I do in a good way. So I think podcasting was really easy for me because I like to. So I've done a lot of podcasts, really long form, just educational content. So it's really nutrition focused during 1 to 2 hours. Right now, I try to decrease the length because I see that people prefer like 30 minutes type of podcast.
Yep.
So podcasting was easy. Maybe YouTube was a bit harder because at first I was trying to do half vlogging, half educational style of content. And now I understood that just formal education like that in my studio works way better. So now I'm only doing that. So that's why I find it really easy. Because once you've done it and you see that people like it, it's easy to do it because you know they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, dude. So you bring up a good point about when you first start out making content, whether it's short form content on short form platforms or long form content or podcasting, you have to try stuff out to figure out if you enjoy it, if you can find it sustainable. And so I've done all types of content now. Podcasts, sitting down in a studio like you've got, with other kind of co-hosts. I've probably had like 3 or 4 different podcasts. I've tried lifestyle vlogging. I've tried daily vlogging. I've tried all of these things. And it's after like years and years, I first tried vlogging like nearly 10 years ago now, but I realized I didn't enjoy that. And now just sitting here, I've got a solid setup. All I need to do is press the record button, put the light on, press the record button, and I'm ready to rock. That to me is my sweet spot, but I had to try out all of these things. One of the best ways that I found getting into content was to take inspiration from other creators. Have you taken inspiration from any other creators in the world, or is there anyone you look up to and you're like, hey, that's someone I really respect?
Yeah, and I'm still trying. Sometimes I see creators I like that do things that where I try to not copy them, but get some inspiration from them. Mm-hmm. Last week I did something. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, Dan Martel released the video. You know Dan Martel, right? Yeah. He released the video like 58 seconds, and you won't have your fear of getting started, blah, blah, blah. I did the same video. I did 58 seconds to get started into the fitness industry. I thought it was going to work well. It didn't work at all. But I still enjoy doing the video. So I get some inspiration. Yeah. I get some inspiration. There is Dan Martel that I like. I like your content. I know in the group there is also Ollie Carson, which I like his content. There is also, I like what's his name in the fitness industry? Brian Marks. I think you've shown him a few times.
Brian Mark. It's really funny because like Brian is like the complete opposite type of vibe to me. He's like the I'm gonna hustle and work until my eyes bleed, and he's clearly driven by like he's got completely different drivers to me. But I really respect someone's ability to have output, and I think you can tell when people are doing it for the right reasons. I feel like I can see that in people's content.
Yeah, I was gonna say I respect the fact that he does so much content, and so then I try to look at what works, what doesn't work. But yeah, and there is also obviously Omozi that I like. Mm-hmm. So right now I just built another FX3 to do the same style of video where I write on the whiteboard, seated, and there is a camera up. And I'm going to start that next week because no one has done it in France. So I'm like, maybe I'll be the first one to have a good setup to do that. But I like to get some inspiration just not for the content, but for the style of the video.
Yeah.
Like, for example, can I finish? Yeah. Yeah, just like at the beginning of every video, see, everyone knows Omozi, but at the beginning of every of his videos, he says, I own acquisition.com, a portfolio of blah, 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 blah. And so now I do the same. I'm like, I've got MSC, I've helped hundreds of people. And see people then, they just recognize the environment and they like it. So that's what I like. I try to, get inspiration mostly for the format of the video, more than the content.
For sure. Let's talk about this because this is some really tactical advice here because you're talking about is investing in the tools and the environment and essentially the identity of being a high level creator. So we're talking about, because this is something that I've recognized, you'll work with people who are just getting started with content. And what I've noticed is that people who, if people can't tell an element of professionalism really fast within a video, and you're not coming in with really high amounts of credibility, then your content's going to really struggle. So simple thing, like I moved into an apartment here in London just purely so I could build this studio, so I can create content at a high professional looking level. So I can have the Rode mic, I can have the Shure mic, I can have the Rode mic stand like you've got. You're in Thailand, and you've just said you just bought another FX3. And for anyone who doesn't know, an FX3 that's not an amateur camera; it's a professional, professional camera.
I've got 2.
You got 2, and so are you getting a third? You're getting
no. So no, I bought a second one, but then for my just regular videos, I also have 2 Lumix S5 Mark II X, which are really good.
There you go.
And plus all the lenses, and that's. I mean, you don't need to buy all of that to be a good creator, but I think you still need to make some investment.
Dude, I'll literally show to the folks here. So this is my second camera. And one of the best things, the best moves that I made was actually just, I think, like getting an actual camera, getting a rig for my camera, or my cameras. So I've got two now, and I'm also going to get an FX3, another FX3 soon, because why the fuck not? And having like proper lenses, professional lenses, and making those investments, and they're the best. It's the fucking best investments you'll ever make. If you spend 10 grand on a professional camera setup and gear, you do it once, the ROI that you are going to get from that investment is it will change your life, transform your life. But it takes a mindset switch. You do have to have a bit of a mindset switch.
Yeah, because people need to understand that Osmo Pocket 3 isn't enough.
No, I've actually stopped
I
using
see,
mine.
same. Yeah, same.
That's why I'm also getting another FX3 because
I think it's good to start. It's good to start because it's cheap and also just to do vlogging, it's fine. But if you want to do, like if you're into educational content, education is also referred as professional. You know, when you go to university, you want to see a teacher is professional. So you're expecting something. I cannot do educational videos, I don't know, sitting on my couch, you know.
Yeah.
Cannot do that. You need to have a professional setup or whiteboard at least or something like that, maybe some books behind you. There is all of that. Because people then they're going to tend to believe you a bit more. I mean, I would say that's a bit sad if people just believe you because you've got a good setup, but it's a part of the game.
Oh, dude, it's become... There's a reason I have fucking books here, and there's a reason it's a reason my setup looks like this. It's because I know how important it is, and I think I've been reminded even more recently how important coming across in those first 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds on a short, on a reel. Like actually, it can even be half a second. It can be that first like frame that comes up. If you just look like a dude who's just there, and you know you're like you don't say anything actually that is worth credibility within that first half a second, people are just going to scroll by. But if your setup looks professional, it will keep people for an extra second just because they're like, this person looks like he has authority. It's mad. It's the difference between an extra half a second, but that extra half a second can be the difference between them watching none of the video or actually staying to watch the video. And so like I completely agree with, if you are in education, look at what me and Louis have got set up here, and like make sure that your setup looks like ours, like act like a professional. People will listen to you, but it will also make you act professionally, which is super important.
I would say setup matters, how you dress up matters, and how you talk matters. So you need to have the three in order for people to listen to you.
Yeah, and do like a little top tip, because we're both doing it here. We're like matching today. We've got the t-shirts, we've got the white.
Yeah, we got
a cream
t-shirts,
t-shirt.
yeah.
We've got the AirPods, and
Yeah.
this is a little psychological hack. The glasses actually count for a huge amount when it comes to credibility in education.
Glasses. Oh yeah, glasses work a lot, but in my industry, you know, oftentimes people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's got glasses. He's smart, but he doesn't know a shit about lifting weights." Maybe you know, some people also react like that, but that's not the
For
people
sure.
that. But I don't care because that's not the people that are gonna buy from me.
For sure. I mean, look, dude, you look like a guy who can throw some weight around. You don't look like
I guess
you
so.
don't look like a, so I think people are like, if you were skinny like me, if you look like me, I'd be like, okay, well, this guy doesn't look like he's been anywhere near a weight. But for you, I think it's like, okay, this guy looks, especially when I've seen some of your photos when you stand next to your like athletes, you're not a small guy. You can clearly move some weight, right?
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, all of that matters.
It does.
And people, if they invest now into a camera, they will still use it in 3 to 5 years.
This camera that I'm filming on, I bought 9 years ago.
See?
9 years ago, and so I'm still using it. And it cost me like under $1,000. And it's like a 4K camera that I've been using for like 9 years now. And it's kind of mind blowing to even think that. Like, I'm like, that's so sick. I could have upgraded to, but because I've got really high quality light, I've got a really high quality lens. The camera itself isn't a huge, massive factor for the type of videos that I'm making here on a fixed studio setup. This works great. Okay, Lewis. So I want to know, because you've hit 100K a month twice, 2 months in a row. What does have you thought about kind of what the next thing looks like for you? Do you just want to sit back and chill? How are you thinking about the next chapter now?
So I don't. So it's what do you mean, money wise or just life wise or
just dude. So you've hit a milestone.
Yeah.
That is frankly fucking rare, man.
Yeah, it's
it's
great,
super cool.
It feels
it's
good.
super cool. Yeah, it's amazing. So how are you thinking about kind of just life, business? What is the next? Have you got a next thing, or do you just want to just chill out and you're happy with what you've got?
Right now? I don't want to chill. I still continue to work on the product. They're trying to improve the service I give to the people. I don't expect months like that every month, and I'm not gonna put pressure on myself to get these type of months every single month. If I get 4 or 5 per year, it's good enough, because I don't really. You know, and you know it, when you earn that amount of money, at the end of the day, it's good, but I don't really know how to feel about that. So because I'm not using 5% of it. Because I live in Thailand.
You live in Thailand.
I live in Thailand. My rent is probably the only expensive thing, and it's not expensive because it's $2,000, so not bad, and cost of living is really low. So right now the goal is probably just to start working. Just continue to work on the product, but probably only working 5 days a week and just half days, and just to free up my time in order to create content for the people that believe in my content, and at the end of the day, I know it's going to be profitable. So I really want to enjoy that time just to create more. I've got a few travels planned, but it's for work, because I still go to competition with my competitors, but I get to travel around the world. But that's the next step. And also, it's what I do in my course now is I try to bring some people in, some other educators that I just only invite for a few classes, and it gives some value to the people that are in the course. And that's the goal at the moment, and just get more and more people in it. And the ultimate goal is to be the first number one French course for nutrition and training for coaches. And I know it will be. It's getting there, because I know some other courses are fading away, and mine is slowly rising. So I get some hopes that it will be number one in a few years. That's the main goal. Main goal is not really the money, but obviously the outcome is the money. And I also increased the price of the course. So that was also the plan. So I can sell less, and the price is higher.
Dude, amazing, man. Look, I think me and you see the world in a very similar way. I think we're motivated by probably similar things. I also want to be the number one, and I kind of know I'm on track for that, but it's going to take some time. Just a final kind of note, because there will be some people who are, I get this a lot, who are either French speaking, Spanish speaking, maybe I have a lot of Dutch folk in my audience, and they have fears about focusing just purely on their own language market. What would you say to those people who are like, oh, I'm not sure if there's enough space for me in French-speaking world or Latin-speaking worlds?
There is probably enough. There is a lot of countries that speak French. There is a lot of countries that speak Spanish, actually. But also it's, I would even say it's better, because if if I was doing the course in English, it would be harder for me, because I know that there is more competition. And there is a lot of chances if you do it in your mother tongue, the competition is lower. The amount of competitors is lower, so you've got more time to analyze. Because a lot of my time when I created my course was to analyze the competitors. And there is only like two. I can name two competitors I have that do the same type of thing, but it's not the same. So, it's also a good thing because you've got less competitors, so you've got more time to analyze what they're doing and what you could do better than them. So that's why you should do it. So if you're French, you should do it, yeah.
Good, man. Okay, so where can people like go check out your content if they're French? They can. Is the Prep Dad on Instagram?
Instagram, it's the Prep Dad. And English, the Prep Dad. So, but I don't post anything in English. I try. I was like, maybe I'm gonna start an English speaking YouTube channel, and then I was like, oh, that's too much work. I'll wait till next year.
Dude, hey, look, that's a little bit of the old shiny object syndrome, the classic entrepreneurships. Like the fallacy is like, oh, what if I could do this? I could do that. I could do this. But dude, you've got an incredible thing going. That 2 months in a row, 100K is absolutely insane. You should be super proud of what you've achieved in the past, like just a year and a half, just like really building this.
Yes, thank you.
It's insane, man. Like, but like for me, my lesson speaking to you, like the takeaways are really clear. Like Lewis clearly gives a fuck more about his clients than making money. Like that's very obvious. He's mentioned this a few times it's about the product. And for any of you guys, like if you really want success, if you want to be leaders in your market, like we're trying to be, it's always about, okay, how can I make the product even better? How can I help my clients move and win faster? So dude, it's been a pleasure getting to chat with you, man.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Lewis. Okay, right. We'll catch you next time.
See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
How sick was that? I think there's nothing cooler than hitting the 100K per month milestone. I think it's when we're growing up, at least for me, when I was growing up, the idea of being like a millionaire, I think was really about being able to make $1 million in a year, whether that's dollars, pounds, euros, fucking whatever. And I think like there's nothing that beats that feeling. So for me, hitting my first 100K month was a cooler feeling than hitting my first 10K per month. Because I think like it's that big thing where it's like you have this dream, but you just have belief that you will get there eventually. And then all of a sudden it typically happens really fast. So like Lewis, he's done it 2 months in a row and it's a fast rise. And so it's typically the way. We spoke to Taryn a couple of weeks ago, same thing, just like it can happen within a couple of months. And that is the power of compounding. That is the power of what we kind of preach, which is around building brands, not funnels. So yeah, look, if you want to, my aim is to build the #1 mentorship accelerator to help creators, business coaches, and consultants, specifically people who help other businesses grow. My job is to help you guys become #1 in your market. We talk about the 3 U's in Scale 20, being undeniably the #1, unbeatable, just being unbeatable in your market, and then having untouchable systems. And so that's my mission, is to be the #1 thing that helps people go from 6 figures to 7 figures a year. So from 10K a month to 100K a month. And the cool thing is we're definitely on track. If you want to work with me, get my help, like Lewis, like everyone else in the Scale 20 crew, we only work with a handful of new clients per month because I help you. And so, yeah, if you want to do that, just DM me the number 77 on Instagram. The key things are you need to be having traction. So you can't just be a beginner. You need to have traction. You need to know who you serve. You need to have at least 5 case studies. And yeah, let's see if you might be a right fit to come and join us in the crew. So if you want to know what our model is that's different and how we build brands, not funnels, I'll pop up this video over here. It'll take you through our entire model and how I've built my business without sales calls. I haven't done a sales call in 12 months. And just honestly, just built what feels like the sickest thing. So I want you to experience this too. So yeah, go watch this video. That was sick. See you in the next one.